Well, I am delighted to tell you that so far the kitchen is working just fine and the smells that are coming out of it are wonderful. So tell me where we are over here with our wonderful meal.
Well, we've got our steak ready,
Okay.
and now we're going to prepare the kale. Okay. So whenever you buy kale, you're going to buy it in these bunches.
Yep, that's how I get it.
And the thing about kale that's so great is that it's easy to find locally grown kale.
Yes.
A lot of it's grown.
South Carolina grown.
Absolutely. A lot of it's grown in Lexington County, which is one of the largest greens producers around. But the important thing about whenever you're using leafy greens is to make sure and wash your hands well before you start. And then we want to rinse off our greens. You're going to rinse them in lukewarm water and then change it to cold water and rinse them 2 more times.
Sometimes greens have a little bit of grit or something in them, and so you just really need to be careful because it's no fun if that happens.
Right, absolutely. And we've got, the HGIC has a fact sheet on making sure that you handle your greens safely.
They do not.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
And I've raised 3 children, thank the Lord, without killing them. Okay.
Well, the thing about kale is that it's very easy to prepare. We don't have to cut it off the mid-vein or anything like that.
It's got a big, thick midrib, doesn't it?
It does have a very thick midrib.
And we don't want to eat that.
And we don't want to eat this. It's real mealy, it's real tough. And so we're just going to pinch off the leaves
that's easy.
in little bunches. And there's no reason to cut it. And so
just pinch, pinch,
pinch all the way up the spine. Doesn't have to be pretty. And all we're doing is just taking it off, and then of course we're going to compost this stuff later.
Or give it to the chickens.
Oh, the chickens love it.
I know.
Powell Smith gives his to the chickens, and they absolutely love it. But once we have all of this torn off of the mid-vein, and a bunch will usually feed, we've got some friends that I actually learned this recipe from, and there's 3 adults, and a whole bunch will feed 3 adults just fine.
Okay.
So,
we're going to put that, you're going to put that right in there.
We're going to put it right in here. And this is on a medium heat.
And it's sizzling already a little bit.
It is. There's a little bit of water in here just from the leaves whenever it's washed. But we're going to be using heavy cream, which means it's going to be heaven. Because anything in cream is wonderful. And it really doesn't matter how much you use. The point is that we just don't want the cream to boil. Because you don't want to.
It'll curdle and,
right. You don't want to do that.
Okay.
And so once you've put it on there, the cream on there, we're going to take just a little bit of salt, and this is more just for flavor. And this is going to be, just 2 or 3 pinches on there. Okay. And all it does is
brings out those flavors. Yeah.
Right. And we're going to cover it, and it's going to end up wilting down. It only takes a few minutes to wilt down. And what you're doing is you're looking for a nice, bright color green.
Oh, we don't want it to get gray or anything like that.
No, and it's not like creamed spinach, where creamed spinach is sometimes kind of slimy. And so,
I mean, I like creamed spinach, but it's kind of an acquired taste.
Well, and it's one of those things whenever you say, we're going to have creamed kale, folks are like, oh, no, because they're thinking about creamed spinach. But we're going to use our tongs.
So this one, you say, is going to keep this nice color, and it's still going to have a definitive texture.
Absolutely.
We're not going to feel like we just have mush in our mouth.
No, it's not going to be mush in your mouth.
Oatmeal.
No, it doesn't do it like that.
Crisp crunch still.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that just sounds like just what you'd want to have.
And it's a really easy dish. This is something that you can eat by yourself. You can have it, for a whole big meal, and it doesn't take a whole lot of ingredients. So it's not very expensive.
That's true. Yeah.
If you've got kids, this is something quick. And my friends do have a toddler, and she will actually eat this stuff.
Come on.
Believe it or not, she will actually eat this stuff.
And we're always trying to get children to eat their vegetables.
Absolutely. And it's hard to get kids to eat vegetables, but if the cream makes everything about it. So
a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Absolutely, it does. And so whenever we're looking at this stuff, it's starting to wilt down a little bit, and we've actually got some on the bottom that I think is almost ready to try. And
now you said you personally like to add a little spice to this. And what is that?
And the spice that I like to use is nutmeg. And nutmeg's kind of one of those acquired tastes too. But you can either put it in when you're cooking it, or you can garnish with it. But it just kind of gives a nice contrast to the cream, a nice contrast to the kale.
Makes it a little more complex. And when I've cooked with nutmeg, I've noticed if I put it in while I'm still cooking it, it seems to mellow it a little bit. And then if I really want to have the stronger effect of it, I'll wait and put it on at the end.
Right, absolutely. And so now...
we're cooking now.
Yep. And so this is actually a really nice stage. We can go ahead and take it out.
This just hadn't taken any time at all.
No, it's very, very quick. And
it doesn't take long to boil a steak either.
No. And so We've got, and you can serve it a couple ways. Like I said, if you want to serve it
That is so
to
pretty.
somebody on a plate like this, or if you're wanting to eat it alone, which is the way that I end up doing it most of the time, just because my husband travels so much, is I'll plate it up and then I'll put the cream in the bottom of the bowl, and so then I can drink the cream later, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, that just is too much fun. It really is. And I'm going to ask you to tell us the story about your beautiful dishes, because you said there's a little story that goes with those too.
Yeah, and with my dishes, so whenever I got married, I asked my guests, instead of picking out china and all that kind of stuff, I said, I would love for y'all to go to the thrift store. And I did it with not only plates, but also with cast iron skillets.
Oh, did you?
So I got 2 or 3 antique cast iron skillets, but I said, go to the thrift store and just buy pretty plates. That's all you need to have. And so?
Oh, everything you said was true. It really is wonderful. It took about a second to make.
Yep, it was very, very fast.
Well, now I'll probably have green spinach and my kale on my teeth for the rest of the show, but it's well worth having green teeth. This truly is delicious. Thank you so much for sharing that
You're
recipe.
welcome.